learning to be able just to sit in a public place by yourself and not be looking at the phone
Mm-hmm.
is a huge deal for me, because I was like, oh, wait a minute, how like and it's such a cliche, like how not present am I? But it's true. I mean, like, and then a lot of times on public transport, I'll just sit there with like AirPods in and I'll just meditate. And it's like, can you bring mindfulness to the most annoying part of your day? And it's like, yeah, I think you can. I don't know. I found that a task-based management of stress helps me out a lot. So rather than just worrying about it, making a to-do list and being like, all right, I can bang these off this morning, like this is easy. That has given me a lot of just clarity in my day. I don't brush my teeth. But I should try that. I should try it.
Yeah, you might get some good ideas.
And it's yeah, people are always like, you should brush your teeth. And I'm like, that's a myth, just like COVID. I'm just kidding. Use that as a quote for the beginning of the thing.
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. Our mission is to bridge the gap between mental health, wellness, and music, specifically rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We give you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. Our wellness kits were created out of a need to simplify your shopping experience and make it stress-free. You'll get the most effective nutrients in the least amount of bottles with the least trial and error. Immerse yourself in the Collaborative Resource Hub by going to our website, where you'll have access to helpful resources that can nudge you in the right direction. Let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Find the Collaborative Resource Hub interviews on YouTube, all major podcast platforms, and subscribe to our newsletter to stay in the loop. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer: nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance.
Mike, thank you so much for sitting down and making time to talk with me today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty sunburnt, but other than that, I'm having a great day.
Yeah, your arms are super red. Are you taking or doing anything for your sunburn?
Yeah, so aloe vera and Tylenol.
Okay.
And a ton of water, just hydrating more than I should be. I mean, more than I normally would be. Excuse me. You know, you just it's overcast. It's those sneaky skies that get you, you know. We were on the water yesterday, and after like an hour, all of a sudden we're like, wait, we're getting bright red, and now we're comically burnt, and here we are.
Yeah, because even if it's overcast, it's still, you're on water, which is reflecting everything, so it's just like infinitely worse to begin with.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah. Good.
At least I don't have sand in my sheets. The sand plus the burn, you're always on vacation. At least for us, like Bostonians, you know, whenever we get somewhere warm, we don't know how to behave. So we're like, oh, I'll just sleep in the sun and then walk into my bed. Anyway.
And then it really feels like sandpaper.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to get that sandpaper experience.
Now you know what to do. Pro tip. So you're the singer of the Rumjacks. How would you describe that group to someone who has not heard you guys before?
It is basically if you mixed the Pogues with H2O and the Bouncing Souls. That's what it's like now that we have a new singer, which is me. And so the sound changed a little bit with the singer change. Inevitably. However, yeah, the band's got a lot of punk roots, a lot of folk roots, and a lot of Celtic music thrown in there.
How many instruments do you play?
I mean, guitar, bass, drums, keyboard, accordion, tin whistle, mandolin, banjo. So just like a bunch of different folk instruments.
Just a few.
Well,
yeah.
On the record, I just sang and played accordion, all the accordion parts, all the banjo parts. We had a tin whistle / bagpipe player. He was our recording engineer, so he took the whistle parts.
Okay. That was nice of you to let someone else have their name written on, you know, next to
He deserves it. Maurizio, he worked harder than almost any of us. So
yeah.
He should be on there.
So what does well-being mean to you? Very broad question.
Yeah. A lot of that for me is, without getting like specific about it, is just how well do you manage your daily stress? I kind of live intentionally to be as not stress free, because I think I do fill my plate with a lot of work stuff.
Mhm.
I feel different type of stress if I'm not working. I just feel lazy and like I'm getting tugged one way or the other. But it's about, for me, balancing work with enjoyment of general life, day-to-day
Yeah.
life.
And that's it. I mean, it's a good point. No matter what you're doing, there's always going to be stress. So like you pick your stressors, and if they're enjoyment or if it's a passion, then that stress is more worth it than in another situation.
Mhm. No, absolutely. Nothing can be perfectly easy.
Right.
It's weird when it is.
And then you question it and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are some ways that you manage your stress levels, like specifically?
Okay, so time management for me has always been a problem. If I'm just like ignoring where my time is going in the day, because I freelance, I work from home. Now the music thing is my job, but I still am doing a ton of video work. I'm, video editor, producer. So there's a lot of hours in the day that I need to be doing stuff that I tend to get really lazy about. So if I'm just getting up late, it like snowballs the entire day of feeling like, okay, now I did a late breakfast and now I'm rushing. So now I need to like really take my time and like try to relax, in the middle of the day, but then I'm not getting enough done. So to avoid all of that, I try to get up at a reasonable hour.
Which is what?
For me, if I can do 7:30, that is awesome. That's
Okay.
that's like extra credit. Because naturally I'll go to bed pretty late and get up pretty late if I'm not like trying to get up early.
Yeah, that was my next question is,
And
do you go to bed like at a regular time typically?
um I usually don't even start getting tired until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Oh man.
And I've just tried to like slow down and like, just no devices toward like, before bed, like the hour before bed. But it I don't know if it's just an internal clock thing or if it's just a cycle that I'm in. But it's been that way since like high school.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Um,
It might just be your biology then.
it could be, yeah. And it's funny because you hear about humans all throughout history, they have different sleep times. Like I don't know, even in like the 1700s, there was like a 2 sleep cycle in like certain cultures where they would get up at like, I don't know, midnight or so and just kind of like go and do chores around the house and then go back to sleep like 2 hours later. So you would hear these 2 sleep things. I don't know. I just think humans and sleep is interesting. And then
Yeah.
just look at any city on any Friday, Saturday night, and it's like, oh, we're like kind of nocturnal animals in a way. Like night is when all the people come out. Like if an alien looked at the earth, they'd be like, oh yeah, the species comes out at night. But you never think about it that way.
Yeah. What time do you eat dinner? Do you eat later? Because it's making me think of like, because I lived in Spain for a hot minute.
I
And
was gonna say.
yeah, so they eat later because they are typically, up later and
Mhm.
siesta during the day.
It honestly depends what country I'm in. So I spent a lot of time in Italy, and in Italy, we don't eat till like way later, like 9.
Yeah.
And like here, I feel like it's common if you ate dinner at 6:30 p.m. That seems completely normal. But they're like, "What are you eating? It's 6:30. Are you crazy?" And it's like, I just thought that was dinner time. They're like, no, we eat at 9. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right.
What time do people typically go to bed in Italy?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's kind of all over the place.
Depends on their work schedule.
Yeah. Like like I don't know. Most of like the time I've spent there is like working in hostels. So that's obviously it's all over the place. And then I spent like 3 months there last year. And I was living with my band.
Mhm.
So
When
they're not gonna
you're
go by.
on tour, do you make a point to really get sleep to nourish your body, or do you kind of like enjoy experiences more than sleep?
Honestly, it depends on the tour. The longer ones. So I haven't toured with the Rumjacks yet. I joined the band at the beginning of the pandemic. So I haven't gotten into like a schedule in like a long 3-month tour or anything like that. But in the past, there have been like the tours where it's just like, I mean, okay, there's 8 people in my Boston band. So it's like madness at all times. So sometimes those tours will feel like, all right, it's boys weekend, you know, except for like a week and a half. And
Yeah.
that's really where I start to notice like, all right, I need to, around the week mark is when I start to need regular sleep and like self-care, where I'm like, I don't know, my immune system will start to shut down, be tired all the time and feel awful.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is with these long Rumjacks tours is to really intentionally plan out like, all right, I need to be going to bed early, sleeping enough, and not just staying up all night. And like in that world, there's a lot of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be good about it, but when every night is people that have just watched your set and they're being, you know, you're in their town and they're stoked, especially when it's in other countries and they're being hospitable. Almost every culture has like a, hey, welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you don't want to be rude, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I do not want to drink as much as the future looks like. You know, I just mean in terms of like tour, being on tour all the time. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
just alternate, make it like your gimmick, your thing that you alternate every alcohol beverage with a water. So then
Yeah.
when the next person's like, oh, here, have this. Thank you so much. You know, good set. Then be like, oh, you're my water one. So get me a water. And then just own it, man. Just fucking own it.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
Because then you're still accepting their generosity and then
Yeah.
surprising them that you want a water for that one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I also might just, I also was thinking about just like doing tours sober,
Ooh.
because the amount that we're going to be on the road, it would be great if I could somehow turn that time period touring into like a healthy time, where instead of like, oh, I'm wrecking my body every night, it's this like idealist vision I have where it's like, oh, that could basically just be a cardio every night. And like, how great would that be? You know, if I could pull it off.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's what I'm honestly thinking about.
I dig it. I think that's an awesome idea. Yeah. So you could try and, you know, have more snacks with you, eat more healthfully, and hydrate the fuck out of your days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do any kind of like meditation or anything like that?
Um, I'll go through phases where I'll do like 10 minutes a day for like a few weeks at a time. And then like things start picking up, or I have to like go away for work or something, kind of fall out of it. And then a lot of times on public transport, I'll just sit there with like AirPods in and I'll just meditate.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you bring mindfulness to the most annoying part of your day? And it's like, yeah, I think you can.
I mean, and that's like the best challenge and use of employing mindfulness is in those times.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Were you ever like when you started whenever you started getting into that mindfulness and meditation, did you ever feel discouraged, like you couldn't turn your brain off or the distractions were just too overwhelming?
For sure. I started off saying like, oh, I just can't do it. It was just kind of like, oh, it's impossible. I have too much going on, just with like, you realize that you don't have too much going on, just make a to-do list and then you're fine. But I just felt like I was overwhelmed with everything, and like with the work stuff and the client stuff and then the band stuff and then the apps, the how much the apps need from you, the social apps. And it's like, oh wait, just turn off all the notifications on stuff that isn't like client related and check that stuff on purpose. Don't just check it. Don't just check it because you have a moment of like, you know,
As a
nothingness.
compulsion.
Yeah. And it is such a compulsion. For example, you will never see somebody, okay, the subway doors are closing and there's someone running up to the door. If they just miss it, phone comes out immediately. It's always running up, doors closed. And it's a way to avoid embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And to see that in that moment is like, oh wait, I at least had the thought like, oh, we just check the phone for no reason when something's uncomfortable or boring or so I don't know. So I was like trying to live without it.
That's good. That reminds me, I haven't thought about this in a bazillion years, but when I was a kid, I was a patrol in elementary school, and I was like, my post was farther from the school, and I felt uncomfortable with like people driving by or walking by, and I'm just like standing there.
Yeah.
And so I would always, I think I had a watch on, but I pretended that like I had to like check the time or fuck
Yeah.
with it or do something with it as some means to like if I had a smartphone in elementary.
You know why? Because someone just standing there with nothing to do looks like a loser. I say that jokingly.
Oh no,
Relax.
I was a loser then.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you feel like, okay, if you are at a restaurant early or a bar early and you're waiting for your friend, if you're not on your phone, I mean, I used to be this way. Now this was something I was like conscious of, and I was like, I gotta change that. Learning to be able just to sit in a public place by yourself and not be looking at the phone
Mhm.
is a huge deal for me because I was like, oh, wait a minute. How like no, and it's such a cliche, like how not present am I? But it's true. I mean, like, so I don't know. I started like leaving my phone in my backpack. I started doing that when we were in Italy recording the album because I would just go out for the day before we went to the studio and I would just like go and have espresso and then like have food here and then walk around and go for a walk. And I was like, can I do a whole morning with my phone not even being on my person, but it's in my backpack?
Yeah.
And that at first is super uncomfortable,
Uh-huh.
but I want that time back. you know?
Yes.
But not enough to get one of those nothing phones.
Oh, like the
Like-
flip phones?
There's those, but then there are also these other phones that it's like strictly contacts and light texting.
Mm.
I just start getting Instagram ads for it. I don't know. And I'm not gonna say their name because I'm giving them free promo. No, I'm just kidding. But I still need all that stuff for work, So
Well, but that's the thing is like the convenience of the smartphone, like it's convenient, but it's mastering the compulsion that you have. Like I uninstall the app from my phone Saturday morning through Monday afternoon. So the weekends I'm not enslaved to it.
yeah.
So it's implementing whatever humanly possible, like, leaving it in your bag for the day. It's so
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. I just get like annoyed by it. I don't care about anything that I'm looking at. Like,
Ultimately, yeah.
I don't care. I do
Uh-huh.
not care what Shannon did with her dog. I don't care. I don't care that her dog's name is Mouse. And that's funny because I named the dog Mouse and I keep seeing posts of Mouse and I think it's hilarious because she named the dog Romulus. And I said, you can't let the dog into my house with that name Romulus. We're going to name it something funny like Mouse. And I don't care to see the dog, even though its name and the story behind it is funny.
It's all fair. What does perseverance look like to you? Like, how do you overcome adversity or challenges?
It's not seeing results. For me, perseverance is doing something that you love or that you want. Let's say, I don't know. Okay, I'll use music as an example. If you want to make it as a musician, which I would never recommend, it is years and years and years of playing empty shows and working your ass off to record something that you're putting everything into, all of your emotion and everything into, to have your friends go, yeah, checked it out. It's pretty rad. And they didn't. And it is doing it, whatever it is, with the hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Because a lot of times there's a lot of discouraging moments in creating anything art or creative related, especially on the internet when everyone's got a thing, everyone's got a this or that, and everyone's blog and everyone's YouTube channel. And you just have to keep making whatever your thing is, as if I would say, okay, so there's a dance like no one's watching. Create like everyone's watching. So if you, okay, we'll for example, if I don't know, let's say you had like a YouTube channel about, I don't know, painting or something. That may be someone's dream to actively make a sustainable business off of creating content and teaching people how to paint. Like that, you know, I could totally see that as a very realistic option for a lot of people.
Mhm.
If you're making these videos like every other day and they're getting 5 views, it can be extremely discouraging. And you'll look back and be like, oh, well, I should have done this one or this one, this one. You just need to act as if they're all getting millions of views and that you're enjoying what you're making and you're happy with what you're making and you feel dignified in just what you've created, and don't worry about that type of stuff.
Mhm.
So using a YouTube channel is kind of a silly example for it, but I think it relates to almost everything, you know?
Yeah, no, and I think it's a good example, and I think it's really relevant because it has to do with views, numbers, those good old numbers, and everything is
Yeah.
so like based on and judged by numbers now, and it's
Mhm.
disheartening.
Getting like press things. It'll be like, oh, there's this thing, blah, 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 13K Instagram, 25K YouTube. You just see these things next to it. And it's like, okay, so how real is that? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because like, yeah. One of the things I do with this project is I have flyers in record shops across the
Mhm.
country promoting it old school, you know, because I don't want it to be dependent on social media. And, you know, there's people that like, well, people, I don't know, they can subscribe from a newsletter or they can follow on Instagram, or they just tune in from having got the flyer. And so it's like, you look at like a YouTube video count or the subscriber count,
Yep.
and it's just it's a poor metric. You can't judge content that way. And yeah, you have to just, if you love it, do it because you love it. And that's literally all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Create like everyone's watching so you don't get embarrassed.
Yeah. As like a vocalist, is there
Mhm.
anything that you specifically do to take care of your throat and lungs and all that?
Yeah. So okay, in the studio verse on tour, like stage stuff is a little bit different, but in general, I try to just drink room temperature water. Why is lukewarm such a gross phrase? Um, you know what? It always reminds me of like, I don't, anyway, it reminds me of like coffee with like old milk in it getting grossy.
Ew, yeah.
Um,
Or
I
like a
drink,
bathtub where the water has gotten like not hot anymore.
yeah, a lukewarm bath.
Ew.
Anyway, I drink room temp water. I try to do nothing with carbonation. Um, I notice that like messes up my voice,
Hmm.
which is already pretty messed up to begin with, especially live, you know. I don't drink beer before sets. I drink red wine, which I understand is terrible because of the acidity. But for some reason that helps me. That in combination with like a ton of hydration and then like the honey tea in the studio, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Alcohol is really bad for your voice unless you're Dickie Barrett for the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, you know, and you're going for that sort of grit. But I don't do anything crazy,
Yeah.
anything too out of the ordinary.
Okay. Um,
Here's an advert in less than 20 seconds. Did you know that Wellness Provisions offers one-on-one wellness sessions? Yep. So if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead in life, but feeling a little stuck, then book a session and let's get you unstuck. Now, back to the interview.
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Have any healthy changes that you've possibly implemented into your life improved your creativity at all?
I would say so. So for me, a lot of my like song ideas come up in the weirdest, most nothing moments. I can't sit down and just do it. I can. If I already have a song idea, I can fill in the blanks while sitting down and really hammering it out. But the initial like, aha, that's a cool chorus idea, that always comes while I'm doing something that is like mindless. So a lot of times I'll go for long bike rides,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like I'm talking like 4 hours or so.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll just go like all day and I'll be like, okay, I'm going like, out to wherever, I'll pick a location pretty far away with like a scenic ride. Cause I love bike touring and I'll just go all day and I'll just ride, and with no like, okay, try to think. No, just go and just enjoy the day. And then like as you're in a rhythm, I don't know, for some reason, stuff just pops in my head. I actually did a video about that where I was showing the example of how doing something weird and physically active promotes creativity. This was like during a blizzard a few months ago. So I went into the blizzard I was at my parents' house. I found these old cross-country skis, which I don't do that. I don't cross-country ski. That's the strangest activity I've ever heard. And we have this like really nice like nature reserve. And I was like, so for the video, I was like, all right, I'm going to show you how a creative idea sparks. I'm going to go into a blizzard on cross-country skis and come out of this with a song idea. So I don't know, just doing stuff like that. Just like, so I've intentionally gone and just put myself in like physical situations where I'll get into a flow state.
So even when you intentionally be like, so has this happened where you're like, oh, I need an idea or something, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go on a bike ride specifically to get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's like, I know when those weird ideas will happen, but they can't be forced, but you can set up the situation to happen, you know?
Interesting.
It's almost like a lot of things are luck, but you can shift luck to happen.
That's true. I mean, yeah, you can, like you said, you can like set the stage you can create that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people I've spoken with, a lot of them have all, they all get their creativity and inspiration when they're running or swimming or whatever, doing like physical activity.
Or the shower.
Yes.
For some reason, because you're just shut off from everything and you're just like relaxed, unless you have like a wicked sunburn. But other than that, yeah, something about the shower, because I don't know, just puts you in this weird...
Brushing your teeth. I get
really?
stuff. Yeah, shower and brushing my teeth.
Huh. I don't brush my teeth. But I should try that. I should try it.
Yeah, you might get some good ideas.
And it's yeah, people are always like, you should brush your teeth. And I'm like, that's a myth, just like COVID. I'm just kidding. Use that as a quote for the beginning of the thing. I'm just kidding. Whoever took that seriously, it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Oh, should I do my formal apology about that one now? Anyway.
Your hand looks like a mannequin hand because it's so vastly different than your arm when it's up by your face.
Oh my God. Whoa. Why don't hands get sunburned? We're learning so much.
But the tops of feet get sunburned. Are your feet sunburned?
Look at my thighs.
I know. Oh man.
The sun is no joke. And in New England, you just don't see it most of the year. So that first weekend is just like, I mean, okay. I said this yesterday. I go, you know what? I'm gonna get a base burn going. I don't even care. And my friend, she was like, you probably just shouldn't do that. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. And then I just like shirt off and land in the sun. I'm just like, yeah, I'll probably get burned another like 10 minutes. And then sure enough, we were out there all day because.
Wait, did that happen before the boat?
Yeah. I was planning on getting a little base burn going.
Oh.
Until my parents' friend, I was in my parents' town of Newport, Rhode Island. And my parents' friend came up on his little dinghy and he was like, Mikey boy, I need a hand on the boat. And I was like, yeah, I got you, Sean. And so I jump on. And then sure enough, I'm on the water all day. And it wasn't till like, I don't know, a little bit later when I was like, oh, wait, do you have sunscreen? And he's like, yeah, you should have put that on earlier.
Did you have a hat?
No. No. Visible, so like clearly.
So much working against you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and then just a ton of hydration, and the acetaminophen helps with the swelling, and aloe vera.
Are there any other like supplements that you take just on a regular basis?
I'll do a multivitamin. I don't even know if they really work. I can't find like definitive science like for either side, so I just take them anyway. They don't hurt, I guess. um I don't know, maybe they do work and maybe I'm saying the wrong thing, because I've found both. I found both answers,
Yeah,
so I never know.
it depends on the kind of multivitamin, because there's really like three specific categories of multis. How interested are you in this?
I'm pretty interested.
Okay.
If it's going to help me be healthier, and
Yeah.
whoever else might be watching this, I will listen and I will learn.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, yes, they are beneficial, but you have to have the right kind of multi. So you have like a conventional multi that's like lab created, synthetic, like a Centrum one a day or something like that. And then you've got food based, which is basically a carbon copy of like the Centrum, but then they add in like a little fruit and veg powder blend as like an afterthought because it makes it look healthy. And then you have food sourced, and a food sourced multi truly is the nutrients are sourced from food. So the other part of my business, I do these interviews and stuff, but I have a supplement company, a company selling supplements. I don't make them. And the brand whose multivitamin I sell, their stuff is all food sourced. And so it's like mega concentration of eating food.
I see. See, that to me sounds scientifically like, oh yeah, it's coming from a food.
Yeah.
Because before I'm like, how can like powders in tasty gummies like make me live to 1,000?
Yeah. And I don't buy into gummies either because you don't know so many of, I mean, like 95% of like the manufacturing for gummy multis and supplements, they're all like outsourced to confectioners. So like you don't know if that like vitamin C is being added at the last possible second, or if it's getting like too heated and then it's just not even enzymatically viable anymore. It's like,
yeah, that's why I like just always assumed like they didn't do much because I didn't know about the other ones.
Yeah. So if you get a good food sourced one, then
food sourced vitamins.
It's like eating a heap of food, at once. And they're gentle enough because it's food. You can take it on an empty stomach and that kind of stuff.
Cool. That's like extremely valuable. That's like great to know.
Do you take anything else or just that?
Mostly I just that, and then I try to just eat well.
Cool.
And by well, I just mean balanced, no specific diet. But just overall just well balanced and not like too heavy in the sugars or anything.
Yeah. So getting decent like fruits and vegetables. And what about good quality fats?
I eat a lot of salmon just because I love salmon. Salmon, avocado. I do that a lot. It's like
awesome.
My favorite.
Cool.
And then just for like a little snack in like the summer, when it's cold out, I'll just throw some. I mean, I'm sorry, when it's hot out and I need like
summer when it's
when it's hot out and I need like a cool snack, I'll just throw like a stick of butter in the freezer, pop that out, and so that's like a fats based popsicle, a fatsicle, and so I'll do like pop back a few of those a day. Actually I got one. I'll
and then you can also just rub it on your arms and it'll hydrate and moisturize your skin too with the sunburn.
A weird butter thing. I started making my own recently. I know that's bizarre. But one of my clients is a YouTube cooking channel, food tube channel. And so I just like learn all these like different like home cooking things. And I started like making butter recently. It's so cheap when you do it that way. And
what do you just get, like a whipping cream or something and just
like a heavy cream, yeah. And then like mason jar, and you just shake it for like 10 minutes and then it's just
seriously?
That's it.
So you can shake it. You don't even need like a blender or
you shake it vigorously for 10 minutes and it's like your arm gets tired. You gotta switch. It's difficult. And then all of a sudden you'll see it at once. It kind of just like separates and then you just like wash it off. And then from there is where you can get fun. And then you can start mixing in like sage and rosemary and thyme and do like herbed butter. And then like throw a little salt in there. And get funky with it, or you can, what I've been doing for some chicken stuff is I'll throw in like, I'll mix that in with like a curry paste that I'll grind up.
Ooh.
So I'll have like a curry butter for, yeah, I don't know. I
I'll try that.
got real excited into the world of butter recently. It's bizarre. But yeah.
Now I'm
I know
picturing.
that wasn't the answer you were looking for. Here we are.
What did I even ask you?
The sunburned butter boy is talking about.
But now I'm picturing, you know, like when you're a kid, you got like the little paper cups, and you, I don't know, we used to do this, put juice in it and then put the popsicle stick in it. So now I'm picturing you doing that with butter.
It's horrible. It's funny though.
Do you have any other like final, I hate saying final thoughts, it sounds like a funeral or something, last words? Anything you want to words of wisdoms you want to impart on anybody listening?
I would say when I started paying attention to how much stress I had daily, just from work, from just the phone, just from other stuff, when I started actually paying attention to the amount of stress I was living with and said, all right, what are these stress sources and what do I absolutely, like, what is completely unnecessary and what can be, I don't know. I found that a task-based management of stress helps me out a lot. So rather than just worrying about it, making a to-do list and being like, all right, I can bang these off this morning, like this is easy. That has given me a lot of just clarity in my day. I'm not always like, oh God, I got the thing, I got to do the thing. But I don't know. It's just helps me out a lot having a good to-do list.
So it frees you up mentally knowing that it's on paper. Do you put it on paper or do you use your phone for the list?
No, I use my phone for the list because
That's ironic.
it is. So I have, am I allowed to like shout out apps?
Yeah.
There's an app called To Do, but it's spelled all French. It's like TEUX.
That's easy to find for people.
Yeah. And yeah, To Do, but it's really good. I love it. It's super simple. And what if I just throw something on the list, like apply, like finish the app? Okay, right now I'm going through getting my Irish passport. There are so many things you need. I need to find my grandmother's birth certificate and like all this stuff. And to just like throw that on a little list, if you can set it for today. If you don't do it, it just overflows into tomorrow. So it's like you're not constantly going back and moving stuff around.
Yeah.
So that app, good use of technology, I would say.
Cool. Game changer for you.
Yeah.
Far out. I'll link it so that other people who have a head full of mess can try it and feel organized and in control. It's
helped me. Like legitimately has. Before I was just like all over the place. And now I'm like, oh wait, I feel kind of like organized now. And I've been like millions of lists before. I just end up with like a notebook that I leave somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Do you like keep a calendar too, or just kind of like the to-do list then?
Yeah, I do a calendar. Just Google Calendar.
Yeah. Sweet. Do you have anything exciting or cool coming up that you want to share on?
Unfortunately, no. I was arrested. I was arrested on a big arson thing. So I have to go to jail for the next 7 years.
Oof. Yeah. So no new releases or shows then.
No, the Rumjacks new album just came out 2 or 3 months ago, and it's doing really well. Hestia. So that's out now, and that's like the most exciting thing I've ever done. And then we are looking at playing again. We've got a lot of shows being booked around the world safely. We're only going to play the ones that we can do safely. So that's exciting. So we've got a bunch planned. And then, I don't know, we're going back to Italy this summer to record more stuff.
Cool. Do you speak Italian?
I do.
Sweet. Do you speak any other languages?
Yeah, I speak Italian, Spanish, Greek, French, and German. Which, I don't know. I like languages.
Yeah. Like all fluently or all?
Not fluently, but like chatty conversation. Italian and Spanish are my best.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was 19, I learned Greek as a joke. It was like a practical joke with a friend, and it was a whole thing. And we were like, well, if we just buy Rosetta Stone and just do it every day, we'll just speak Greek. And then we did. And we would like just like speak Greek to each other, just learning and practicing, and then get like our friends that speak Greek to like help us out. And then we have the language partners, and we didn't tell any of our friends like in our circle until one day we were all home from school, like on like a school break or something, because we were 19. It was in college. One of our friends had brought a bunch of tabs of acid to a party, and I didn't partake, and neither did my friend who I learned Greek with, but pretty much everyone else did. So at 4 a.m. when we went to a diner, a Greek diner, we're sitting there, and the guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" We're like, "Yasu tikani, si makalaisi." We just start going, and the guy's just like, "Si malate eletica, yeah, me malate eletica, poli licho, epivi elada orea," and our friends are just like, and they all thought they had lost language, and it was the funniest thing in the world for that 30 seconds. And then the joke was over and they moved on and were freaking out about like something else. And yeah, that started my love of language.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it was another weird one, I guess.
Yeah. If you could pick one more language to learn, what would it be?
Maybe Japanese.
Okay.
Japanese or Irish. Irish, there's so many crazily poetic, descriptive phrases for things. Like, we would just say it's sunny out, but their phrase for that is how the sun splits the stones. Like,
Really?
It's incredible.
And that's what people in Gaelic, right?
Just Irish.
Oh.
So Gaelic branches off. There's Scotch Gaelic and then Irish. Yeah. But Gaelic is kind of an umbrella one. But the official language of Ireland is Irish and then English. But I don't know. So they have all these crazy phrases that I would just love to know more about, especially like old ones. And then Japanese is just so fun. And Japan is so fun.
Have you been?
Yeah.
Cool.
I was there like the November before or September before the pandemic hit. So
okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the best thing you ate when you were there?
So two separate things. One was a bowl of ramen. It was like a tonkatsu ramen. This was in Kyoto, and it was just I don't have words. I don't have the language to properly like say how good it was. Probably numerically, if the best thing I'd eaten previously to that was a 10, this would have been like a 34.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess that accurately. I can only describe it numerically. That's how good it was. And then the single best cup of coffee I've ever had, and I love coffee. So I didn't know a Japanese siphon is a special type of coffee device that I had never even seen before. And like, I'm all like, oh, I use an AeroPress and I love coffee culture. Blah. I watch coffee YouTube videos anyway. And no, I'd never heard of this thing before. And I think people in Japan, they take a lot of pride in whatever their job is. So this guy had this very like intricate system for how he made this coffee. Everything was timed perfectly. It was like, it wasn't even like it was a scripted play like people talk about like high-end chefs doing thing. No, he did the thing, then he lights a cigarette, goes and sits to the side, looks at his cigarette, sees it's at like halfway, puts it out, walks back and does the rest of the thing. And it was unbelievable. And and he gave me like my breakfast with that coffee, and everything was just so perfect. It was so weird.
Wow. So it's how he made the coffee, and it didn't have anything to do with like the beans themselves.
It could have been the bean. So I don't even know, what.
Yeah. All you know is it was made in that thing, and he smoked a cigarette, and it was amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if they are importing special beans from, Ethiopia or whatever, because I've got my place here where they have beans from all different countries, and then they give you the source and then the farm and everything. So I like nerd out over that stuff, and I have no idea. I have no idea what this was.
Mystery.
humble, purely humble. And that's what was great about it.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you this has been a super fun chat. Thank you for sitting down and sharing what works for you and your brain, how you get inspired and how you stay focused and organized. I hope that will inspire people, because I feel like a lot of people need help with organization in their life. So everything has been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.